Hello, today's video I'm going to show you guys how to get Mithril powder and make a little bit of money on the side so you guys can max out your mining setups for up and coming fiestas and some of the best money making methods in the whole game. Now Mithril powder is incredibly useful because it helps with your HOTM tree, but you also do need a good HOTM tree to actually mine Mithril powder. For starters, you want as much mining speed as possible. Don't make fun of me for not having this maxed out. Titanium and Sanium, this is thanks to a Reforge I'll show in the gear section. Efficient miner, the more blocks you break, the more Mithril powder, so this is incredibly useful. Then Skymol has 15% more powder while mining and minus 20% on ability cooldowns and 5x titanium drops. This pretty much all around is going to be a lot more useful, making you more money. Then seasoned mine men, so you can level up your pet, level up your exp share pets, or get your mining to 60 even quicker. Next you have fortunate mine men, powder buff, and speedy mine men, all costing gemstone powder, which is relatively easy to max out, and I will make a video on this later. Fortunate mine men is not required, but having it does increase your profits, so as you do this you're making money. Then is powder buff, which is pretty much required to have absolutely maxed out because it will just make the process 50% quicker. Then there's speedy mine men, which is a loaded mining speed alongside with strong arm, which is also a very large amount of mining speed for not that much gemstone powder or work, but it will require you to get HOTM 8. If you don't want to get strong arm, the requirement would only be HOTM 7. Next is the ability you're using, which would be Picobulus. You would also want your core of the mountain to at least level 2, I believe, so you get more base mithril powder when mining mithril and a pickaxe ability level. When using Picobulus, it just helps you get an extra 30 to 50 blocks while mining to up your rates a slight bit. Now here's every single way in the game to get mithril powder. For starters is powder buff, like we talked about earlier, and the core of the mountain alongside with a mithril golem pet, which can be legendary. Then your drill of choice is going to have a spicy goblin omelet, while being the mithril drill, 40% more mithril powder, giving you 60% more mithril powder solely off of your drill. Then if you come into the mines and walk over to this building here, you can see this NPC that sells powder pumpkins for a very cheap price, and consuming these simply gives you 5% more mithril powder every hour. Then if you reach into your hunting box, if you go get star sentries with a black hole, you can get 10% more mithril powder, which is incredibly cheap and easy and definitely worth its while. And then I'm also pretty sure if you subscribe, you get like 50% more mithril powder. And another way is using the dimensional reforge, which yields for every titanium ore broken, you get 10 mithril powder while it gets multiplied by your percentage of mithril powder. So let's say I have 150% more powder, I'll be getting 25 mithril powder from each titanium ore, which is absolutely insane. You would preferably want this on your Devon. I had to take it off since I'm done with mithril powder now. And then if you want to get ultra sweaty, you can go ahead and put royal on a random set of equipment, and for when you're about to claim an event, you can reap the benefits of the royal bonus, which gives 5% more mithril powder from mining event, and then just switch back to your normal equipment setup. There's also some other smaller bonuses that aren't all that realistic, like the blue cheese goblin omelet giving 1% more powder. Alright, so let's actually talk about the gear. Your gear is just going to be your best mining setup with the dimensional reforge for the mithril bonus. If you're on Iron Man, you can just go ahead and do some extra nucleus runs with the chance of getting like a Devon drill or a quick claw, and then switch out your jadeds because you should have the max amount of jadeds pretty easily. If you're on a normal profile, just get your mithril powder before actually putting on jadeds. You don't have to waste money by switching jaded off of a Devon set. You would just want basic flow state 3 with your best fuel tank and best drill engine on a mithril drill. The second version of the mithril drill gives 20% more powder, so make sure you have the highest version of a mithril drill. Then your equipment is again just the best you can have. I have this. I suggest just getting normal titanium equipment as it helps for specific mithril and titanium and in the dwarven mines a lot. And if you don't want to bother with blazing, royal is probably more efficient thanks to the event bonuses of mithril powder, but like I talked about, you can just have it on another set of equipment. You can also get a fillet of fortune for mining fortune, and some quick disclaimer is you're not going to be making a lot of money doing this, and fortune is just going to help you with a little bit of money on the side, which the main goal being mithril powder. As an Iron Man, you can actually sell your mithril that you make if you get a lot of overflow mithril. For example, I dropped my pendant very quickly, so I have no real use for any mithril since I have everything maxed out in mining, so I'm able to sell all mine to the NPC, and I made about 50 million coins just getting up to 8.6 million mithril powder. Now I'm going to talk about how to actually mine mithril powder. You have two spots where you're able to do it, where I'm standing at these coordinates or where I'm standing right now at these coordinates. This spot is actually the better spot to be mining mithril as there's more blue mithril, so you won't run out while mining. So I'm going to primarily talk about on how to mine here. What you want to do is have a powder pumpkin, grab your mithril drill, pop your fillet of fortune too for all those small bonuses, and have a mithril golem out, and then just use the gear as we talked about and just simply mine as much as you can. Next, if you want to up your rates by a small amount, you can go ahead and grab a rod and set up pet rules to where you can switch to a battle pet, have a shorter cooldown on your Picobulus, and then with your dimensional, make sure you're mining this titanium in clumps so your efficient miner isn't getting wasted. You also need to make sure you're only mining blue mithril, the blue wool, because that gives a lot more powder than the gray wool and the terracotta. None of these events are actually worth the time to stop your mithril mining to do unless you're in a very low quality setup. So if you're in a really bad setup, maybe Yogg armor and a lower mithril Mithril Drill, then go ahead and do every single event you see. But if you're in something like Sorrow with most of what I talked about in this video, go and follow these events that I'm going to tell you how to do. First is a raffle. The raffle is definitely worth it, as you can get up to like 100,000 Mithril powder from just one of them, which is going to beat anything you're going to do Mithril mining. Next is the Goblin event. You can go ahead and just kill 20 goblins and go back to Mithril powder mining. 2x powder, you don't need to go ahead and stop doing anything. If anything, you want to mine more Mithril. A cool trick is you can go on Skywars, Dwarven, and then go to mining, and on the bottom it says mining event tracker, and you can turn this on for a tracker that tells you when events are going to be, and this can tell you outside of the Dwarven mines. So if you're just playing dungeons or something and you see that 2x powder is popping up, you can go stop what you're doing and do the 2x powder, and then go back to dungeons once it's over, doing only 2x powder, making the process take half the time. Another useful mod is something that notify you that your Picavios is ready. This is using SkyTill's notifications. I'll go ahead and have this in my Discord server. It just pretty much looks like this. And that is all for the video. Thank you guys for watching. I have recently made a guild, and I also have a Discord server with up to 120 members, and we'll be doing frequent giveaways like at 1,000 subscribers. I plan on giving away my Terminator on my other profile, so make sure you guys like and subscribe to make me not have that anymore. And of course, thank you for watching.